else to say. I drew a smile on my face to paper over me. The wounds heal when tears dry and cracks they don't show. So don't be so hard on yourself. There's no way to simplicity. I feel like I've been missing me. Was not who I'm supposed to be. I felt this darkness over me. We all get there eventually. I never knew it. Welcome to the party. Ooh, the vibe is so good. I love it. Welcome to the fiesta over here at the Workflow Studio. And I'm so excited to talk to you all about systematizing your relationship management and how I have some resources to support you inside the Workflow Studio. But before we get into any of that, I'm going to actually take you through the process of how to systematize your relationship management. So regardless if you join or not, you're going to get some value on and some clarity around how you can do this on your own, because you may already have something set up. You just haven't set up the system behind it. So let's dive into it, because I am not about long videos. I am not about that life. We have other things to get to. So let's get right in. So if you are joining me and don't know me, and this is our first time interacting, my name is Alicia Lozano, and I'm a business operations and change management consultant, and I partner with underrepresented small businesses and solopreneurs to simplify their systems and their path to wealth. Let's make some money, baby! And I am also the creator of the Workflow Studio membership, and it's the ultimate operations product membership for solo business owners who are DIYing their systems. If that's you, I want you to stick around, because you're going to get some value from this video today. So let's dive into systematizing your relationships. So, okay, first of all, we have to decide what type of relationship should we even be systematizing, right? And when I say systematizing the relationships, I mean that we need to create some practices around how we take a new relationship and move it in the direction that we want to move that relationship in. Maybe you meet someone and they said something that you know that they would be a great potential client. Maybe somebody else is a strategic partner, right? And then also we have to think about our former clients, right? We still want to make sure that we are setting up some practices in place to systematize that relationship as well, and to maintain that relationship as well, right? Because our former clients, we don't want them to just have our services and then we don't follow up or don't check in or don't do any of that stuff to see how they're doing, or maybe even offer a different type of service in the future, right? So those are the three types. So if you didn't catch that, the three type of relationships that you want to focus on. Now, there can be many relationships that you can systematize, but today I'm going to focus on just telling you about three, which is your leads, which is potential clients, your clients, which is your former clients, right? And then your strategic partners. And strategic partners could mean anything from, maybe they have a podcast and you want to pitch them on the podcast. Maybe they're going to be great collaborators because you share an audience or something like that. So that is all strategic partners. So for the sake of time, because we don't have 2 hours to go in through every single relationship type, we're going to focus on today the strategic partner and systematizing your strategic partnerships, okay? The relationships with your strategic partners. So when we talk about systematizing, there are two parts to maintaining a relationship. The first is, or systematizing the relationship. The first is data entry. So you have to collect information about this person in some place, in somewhere. Most of you are likely collecting that information right here, right? Who's with me? Okay. Same Z's. And then it like leaves the back door, right? Because you have more information and you're like, what? Like, who did I talk to? Who did we reached out, right? So the first is to systematizing your relationships. The first part is systematizing the data entry. So meaning that we have to collect information from a person and put it somewhere. Again, it might be in your head, or maybe some of you have like notes on your phone. It might be notes or something like that currently. The second part to maintaining, to systematizing your relationships. Is the relationship management practice once it's already in a CRM or in a database of some sort. You have relationship management practices that you need to build in order to help you systematize this relationship and maintain it. So let's break those two things apart. Again, data entry, like how are we collecting information and where are we putting it? And then some relationship management practices is part two. Once the data is in there, what are we doing with that data and how can we design something to support us taking a new relationship to whatever we want to take it to, whether it's lead, whether it's or in the lead slash prospecting as a potential client, or whether it's a strategic partner, et cetera, right? So okay, data entry. So let's talk about data entry. So when we think about like putting data into funneling all of that, data. And when I mean data, I mean like the name, the email, the maybe some of their motivators, some of their likes, dislikes, notes about the conversation, things of that sort. So when you think about collecting information, you want there's different ways that we're meeting people, different, we're in-person networking, online networking, we're online on, Facebook groups, we're sometimes maybe strategic partners come through a email introduction, right? Hey, you guys, I think y'all should connect, and that email comes into your inbox, right? So there's all these different places that people that you're meeting people. And so we need to find a way that no matter what way you're meeting someone, a strategic partner, it's getting funneled into one place. I know. It's crazy. Okay. So how are we going to do that? So the data entry, again, you could be meeting people through your networking, whether that's in person or online, like events in general. You could be meeting people online in Facebook groups, or even just like engaging, right? You could be meeting people through email. Those are kind of the three that came to mind, like the top common ones, and there may be other ones as well. So let's consider like those three sources of where you might be meeting people. Okay. So if you're meeting people in person or even online and networking, you can always send over like a QR code or a digital business card that then takes them to fill out some like capture form that has like maybe name and email, like something super simple, and then have that go into the feed into the database itself. If you are meeting somebody online, so maybe it's just an engagement, you commented on the post, they commented back, and you kind of hit it off and you want to get to know this person a little bit better. Or maybe you were in a Facebook group and you somebody expressed a pain point that you could help them with, and you replied back to them. So those are once you meet somebody like that, or in that way, you could grab their social link because you're on social, right? And then drop that into a notes area or even a form. It could be in the same capture form of you just entering their name and then you dropping their social link, right? And bear with me, okay? So this is the beginning stages of how you get information into one place, into a database. And then if you're meeting them through an email, typically what will happen is somebody will do an email introduction. And what you can do is you can tag that particular email as, let's just say, strategic partners, right? Or email intros or something that makes sense to you and what your how your brain works. And when you tag them, there can be an automation that says, when somebody is tagged, please send this pieces of information to this database, right? What? I know. Automation is crazy. Okay. So, and I'm going to show you like behind the scenes. We won't get into the automation and like how to set up the automation, but I will show you like behind the scenes on how you can keep track of these people. So, okay. So we talked about data entry and we talked about different ways that you can get the information from people into some type of database, whatever you're using. If you're using Google Sheets, if you're using a project management system, if you're using a formal CRM, all of this can be applied to any one of the databases that you're using. So part 2 to systematizing your relationships is designing relationship management practices. So what that means is you can have maybe for certain relationships you want to invite to a call as kind of the next step. Maybe you want to engage with them on social for a little bit. Maybe you want to follow up after a certain amount of days. Or maybe, the next step, maybe after engaging with them for a little bit, might be to invite to a collaboration of some sort, right? So those are all practices. So you have to think about, okay, when I have a strategic partner, and we have to remember too that a lot of this is going to be based on, because we're dealing with people, right? So like, although, there could be a general linear path to systematizing your relationship, there's always going to be an element of personalization and you kind of deciding where you want to take this relationship next. So for example, like, somebody could come into your database, right? You could follow up with them and then they could say something that is super controversial that you don't agree with them. And then you're like, I don't want to continue with this relationship, right? So there's always going to be different variables when you're systematizing your relationships, but there are practices that you can design within yourself and how you want to actually build relationships. Like, do you like calls? Do you, I had a client one time that actually, she loved in-person networking and she also loved to go to have the next step in her relationship be an in-person coffee chat, or I think it was an in-person walk actually. So that was super like her, right? It was super her, and that's how she designed. So even though it's even though every relationship could be different, her next step of meeting somebody in line in a networking event in person is always like, I want to invite them to a walk if I decide to, right? So she set up certain things to like a canned email to be there in order to make that next step in that relationship. So anyway, so those are just some relationship management practices that to give you some ideas. So let's see this in action. Are you ready? Okay, so I'm going to share my screen and we are going to share screen. And before I show you the tracker called the connection tracker, I'm going to show you like this workflow so you can kind of see it as a visual. So if you're meeting somebody in networking, you could have a digital business card that be then zapped to a, I put template task with reminders. Okay. So within the tracker, within the connection tracker that I have, you can set up a template that has general reminders like follow up, right? And you can set those reminders to say whatever you want them to say. But this can, anytime somebody comes in through this digital business card, you can have a template task with the reminders reminding you to follow up. So one of the things that you might want to do right after an event is send an email after an event follow up, right? That's something that you can have canned. And that's also something that with the click of like a little button or the change of a status that you could send from your project management system or CRM or something like that. So it could just be like, hey, it was awesome meeting you at the event. I'd love to schedule a coffee chat, or it was awesome meeting you at the event. If there's anyone in my network I can introduce you to, et cetera, et cetera. Now, if you're not sure exactly what to write, I actually have within the Workflow Studio, we have a relationship management email templates, email and DM templates. I think there's probably about 30 options that you can choose from on different areas in your relationship, whether it's like a new connection or an established connection, of different canned emails that you can set up and send out to help you maintain these relationships. Okay, so then if you meet them online, they could come through, like I mentioned, you're grabbing their social and you're grabbing their name really quick, and you can put this into a connection form that then goes to your database, right? So one of the things that I do in my business, because I have a virtual assistant, is I actually just grab their social media handle and I put that into a chat that's called Connections. And then my virtual assistant is actually trained on what to do next. So what's really cool that I'm going to show you is those steps on what to do next is actually a built-in checklist on the connection tracker within the Workflow Studio. So I'm going to show you that. But that's what she's trained to do. So she's trained to click on the social link. She's trained to go to their website, find any contact information, throw all of that data into our database, and then make sure to tag me to follow up with this person so that I get an alert in my project management system, which I use ClickUp. But this could be a practice that you can use in any project management system. And I get an alert that says, hey, follow up with so-and-so, right? So then I know to follow up with that person next, right? So after that, after you, maybe the follow-ups look like this, and this is kind of what I mapped out. Maybe one of the first follow-ups is review social media. Okay, great. Then the next week, you need to engage. Then the next week, you need to engage. And the next week, you need to engage with them. And then the next week, you invite them, whether that's invite them to an offer or invite them on a coffee chat or invite them to your podcast or whatever the case may be. So these are all reminders to make sure that you're progressing that relationship forward and you're not just meeting 100 people and then never ever talking to them or following up with them again, right? Then the email intro, if somebody comes in through an email intro, very likely you're going to want to send an email back, right? Again, it could be something canned. And when I say a canned email, one of the things that's super important for my clients is personalization, right? So you can still create a canned email, but you can also have it flexible. It doesn't have to be the exact thing that you're going to say, but it could just be a template and a structure for even saying something like canned email could be, hey, it was great being introduced, or, lovely to meet you. And you can have 3 bullets, share about, something, invite them to whatever's going on, and share your call link or something. It could have just a quick bullet point so that if you like writing your own emails, you can just use that as a reminder and a guide. And again, what we're trying to do here is we're trying to systematize any piece of any step in developing and maintaining that relationship, right? So when you think about what are the things you have to think of, we want to eliminate the amount of time that you're thinking of what to do next because something's already set up for you, right? So, okay, you send an email, maybe you invite them to a call, they come on the call, and then you send another email that is like a follow-up thanking them for their time on the call, et cetera, et cetera. And then you can also tag them. So when you tag them, that can prompt other reminders depending on what tag you use. But you can tag the relationship type. So maybe somebody introduced you and you're not really sure if like they would be a good fit for a client, or they would be a strategic partner, or if maybe your values don't align and you don't like them at all. Whatever it is, you don't know until kind of like after you engage with them, right? So then at this point you could tag them in the relationship. Okay, so here's the good part. I'm so excited. Are you excited? I'm excited. Okay, I'm gonna stop sharing that one and I'm gonna share a let's see, stop screen, and I'm gonna share the connection tracker. I'm so excited. So within the Workflow Studio, you have a connection tracker. Okay. Yay! Okay, it's on the screen. Woohoo! Okay. And let's see if we can make this. There we go. Okay, that's even better. So, okay, we have this connection tracker directly inside the Workflow Studio. So, if you don't know the Workflow Studio is the ultimate operations product membership for solo business owners DIYing their system. So if you're still DIYing your system, come into the Workflow come into the Workflow Studio, and I would love, love, love to support you. Okay. So what's inside the connection tracker? So let's take a peek behind the scenes. So inside the connection tracker, you're going to have just kind of these examples here. I know it looks a little crazy, but I'm going to go through it. So this is the kind of the master contact card here that I would like for you to save as a template so you don't lose any of the data here. Within the master contact card, you have just a couple of highlighted things that I think that you should take note of when meeting somebody. Now, this doesn't have to be automatic because sometimes we don't know this information, but just like any CRM, right? You want to collect like, who would a good referral be to them? Do they have any family, like kids, a husband? Are they married? Motivators and values and top skills and strengths, because all of this is going to help you in personalizing your relationship and deepening that relationship with this person, right? Okay. Then you have general information here in some of the custom fields. And one of the things that I'll tell you as soon as you get this tracker is to customize your own tracker. Customize the custom fields that are in here. And before I go any further, what I will say is this tracker is optimized for ClickUp users. However, inside the Workflow Studio, and no matter what I'm giving out, and no matter what project management system or any other system, I am putting the CSV files so if you're using Monday, if you're using Asana, if you're using Airtable, anything like that, you can still use this tracker and the custom fields and all the things that are included with it, because I'm giving you the CSV files to upload into your own tracker. However, I always say it's optimized for ClickUp because it's made within ClickUp, right? Okay. So you have some general information here, and then you also have built-in relationship tags. Now, this could be overkill, right, for you. You may not have this many tags, and tags is really just like you can have several types of relationships with people. They can be a client and a strategic partner. They could be a champion or cheerleader and an affiliate. You could be an affiliate of theirs, right? Something like that. That's what these tags are about, in order for you to kind of keep track, because then you can sort per tags and you can see who do I want to engage with. So people that have podcasts. Okay, great. I've tagged a podcaster as a relationship type. Now I can sort all of the podcasters and pitch my talks to these podcasters, right? So that's the benefit of tagging your people. If you also want to tag strategic partners, you could tag your partners, strategic partners, and sit down, make sure that you dedicate, 15 minutes a week to just engaging with your strategic partners, right? So that's the benefit of tags. Then I have relationship stage built in. So this is actually really great. I actually go through the definitions of each build, grow, nurture, and maintain, or just a new connection, or even an auto maintain here. And so I won't get into it, but this lets you know, and it influences the strategies that you use to maintain that relationship. I have your source on where you met them and website. So let's get into, since we were talking about the relationship stage, let's get into what I have here really quick for relationship stage. So I talked about you can either build a relationship. You're either in the build stage, you're either growing the relationship, which means that you're deepening it, or you're nurturing it, or you're maintaining the relationship, right? So I have given you specific strategies. If you're anything like me, okay. So some of you might be really awesome at like meeting somebody and then, you hit it off and you're just natural at building that relationship because maybe you're just naturally curious. Maybe it's just easy to talk to that person. I am not a natural relationship builder. Okay. That is not my strength. So for me, I had to develop a system around like, what do I say next? What are some ways that I could deepen this relationship with someone, right? I had to use reminders because, again, I was sitting in front of my computer and I wanted to have relationships with people, but I just didn't know what I could offer. Every time I sat down, I was like, what do I even offer you? Like, I don't have anything of value to like give to you, right? And so this reminds me, these strategies remind me, oh my gosh, yes, I can invite them to an in-person activity. I can offer to help on a project. I can follow up on something that they said that was coming up and like talk about that with them, right? So all of these things are inside this tracker. And then we back to kind of the data entry, we talked about like this is ready to give to a support person, a virtual assistant, admin, executive assistant. So you have your new connection checklist, and this is like verify that the contact isn't a duplicate, right? Insert the title, insert the photo, insert your email, right? It tells them step by step on what to do. And again, this is customized depending on who you work with. They may just need to say like update the custom fields in the connection tracker, right? Check. Okay, done. Right. But I broke this out very detailed on step by step on what to do. Then I have a quick checklist on what you can do before a connection call, what you can do after a connection call here. And then, so these are just some built-in checklists that I have there. So in addition to the card itself, and I have this built out in frequency, like the amount of time that you want to follow up. I just pulled out approved vendors as a tag field, strategic partners as a tag field. So this is only showing those types of relationships. And then you just have your general list there. This also comes with the start guide to how to get started with the connection tracker. So you won't be left with just like, what is this? So anyway, this is the connection tracker that comes with the Workflow Studio. This is one of like 20 plus resources that are inside this connection, this Workflow Studio. So I would love for you to join the Workflow Studio. I would love to welcome you. And if you don't know, if you're just tuning in, what is the Workflow Studio? So imagine that Audible, the online store, sells audio versions. They sell audio versions of books, but imagine that they sold business operations templates and SOPs and short trainings, all with one goal, and that's to simplify systems implementation and your path to wealth. Okay. So this is all of the tools, all of the templates, and mini trainings to support you in growing your business and getting the foundation of your business operations set up. So I am so excited to be talking about this week. And if you have any questions, my DMs are open. I will be answering any questions that were left at the on here, whether it's live or you're catching the replay. So yeah, I hope that you guys have a great rest of the day, and yeah, I'm here to support you. See ya.